Hello, good
Hello.
morning. Oh, it's a great day today. Today, Fiona Campbell, my partner in crime, is going to be talking. But first of all, let's talk about your accomplishments, because you've got some wonderful, wonderful titles. So first of all, you're the co-founder with me of Magenta Events. You are also a beingness teacher. That's great, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes,
I think, aren't we? But
that.
you're also, I'm reading this because obviously it's long titles here. You are a self-love facilitator.
Yes.
And the one that really gets me, which I just think is great, you are a metaphysician and an ordained minister.
Yeah,
Wow.
so if anybody wants to get married.
Absolutely, we're covered. Magenta Events, Magenta Marriages. I mean, that's great. I mean, what great titles. I mean, we all have titles, don't we? And we're not defined by those titles, but I think by, people who are listening and watching now, I mean, that encompasses you and what you're going to be talking about, because today you're going to be talking about navigating through uncharted emotional waters with self-awareness, self-connection, and self-love.
Self-love, yeah. My big, shall we say, aim in life is, to help people to discover a powerful sense of self, in the sense of self, to stand up and claim all their uniqueness, because we always seem to be having titles that people, or definitions that people have put upon us, but we're all so much more of that, so much more than that. And it's all about, going on a journey of just letting go what you are not, what everybody else has given you, and bringing to light your true essence, your true fragrance, your truth and your purpose through what I call the sacred words of I am, because they are very sacred.
Yeah, and they're such short, small words with such a huge meaning behind them.
Absolutely.
But before we talk about that, I mean, I'm sure everyone would love to hear your story. Why are you a beingness teacher? Why did you go down, the ministerial route for being an ordained minister? Because I think with all of us, I would say, at some point, in fact, all our speakers have gone through certain things in their lives to be at that point where they have been not forced or made, but the universe effectively wants them to walk a particular path, and you are walking a very special and particular path. So tell everyone your story and how you got there.
Well, I think there is always a point in your life where, as you said, the universe is saying you've got to become who you came here to be. And situations just, are created. I just literally collapsed, I think. I struggled all my life with really low self-esteem, always felt guilty, always felt ashamed, unworthiness, never good enough. I mean, the list, they were all mine. They were all mine. And I tried so hard to be and do what everybody else wanted me to be and do, because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, it's never enough. It's never enough. I went through a very abusive marriage. I lost all my freedom on every sense. I couldn't go out of the house. I couldn't have friends. I couldn't do absolutely anything. I had absolutely no freedom to be me. And so that was, I went through a lot of things, finally managed to get out of that. I don't know how. And just push myself forward. I was just doing and doing and doing, completely in my head. For me, my body was just to carry my head around from place to place, totally disconnected, and just ended up totally collapsing. I just didn't know who I was or what I was supposed to do. It was a very painful time. And one morning I woke up with a voice in my head, and I heard 3 words: be, one, and now. And they were such simple words, but I didn't have a clue what they were supposed to tell me. And then I heard a voice saying to me, stop, just stop. And I listened to it, and I thought, right, that's it, I'm stopping everything. I got up, took my dog out to the local park, abandoned park, which I now call my magical park, because it just, and I just sat on a bench every day for months and months. And I cried and I raged and I journaled. I wrote poetry. I just sat and observed nature, observed the trees. And then one day I just jumped up with such anger, saying, well, I exist, and I have the divine right to be here. And for the first time in my life, I felt me, and
just so that people know, this was all in Italy. So
yeah.
I mean, you are a British lady and living in Italy, which you have done since you were 17 years old.
Yeah, 43 years I lived.
Yeah. So you're more Italian in that sense, but you're still in a country, aren't you, that is not home as such. So you're dealing with all those emotions as well that go with that, even though you had your lovely family with you. And
it is difficult after a while. You feel anyway a foreigner, if you like. You're never. And then when I used to come back to England, I felt a foreigner here too. So it's
it's a difficult thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so basically you found yourself on a park bench.
On a park bench, yes. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely great.
I changed my life, really, learning. And it was from then on that I started to understand the fact of being, because I was always doing. We are human beings, and we've forgotten this. We're doing and having and wanting, but we're not being.
No.
And until we stop, we're never going to understand, who we are. So sense of self.
A sense of self. Yeah, a sense of self. Wow. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking I sort of know what the meaning of sense of self is. And I'm sure, there's other people watching now today thinking, oh, I know what sense of self is as well. But I have a sneaking suspicion that we really don't know what sense of self is, because we don't look at it. And, by connecting into that, so much more is opened up to us. So tell us a little bit more. Can you explain to us all, what does sense of self actually mean?
Well, so often we, as I said before, we're defined by others. We're defined by our parents. We're defined by our culture, our education, wherever we live. By society, and we accept these things. But really, who are we? Who are we really? And when everybody used to tell me, you're this, you're that, and I would say, well, I'm not that, I'm not. But I didn't know what I was. I could say what I wasn't, and I could get very angry and upset and hurt by what people were saying. But I never defined me. I never said, I am not that because I am this, or I am that. I just let everybody else define me, and just so many emotions. I had no form. No. If you like, you're letting other people give you kind of a temporary form, but you never feel strong in it, because your emotions and thought are just flowing out, and everybody else is coming in, and you have no boundaries, you have form, no form. And so this is where it's really important to to define yourself.
Which is quite a hard thing for people to do.
It is.
The time, because a friend of mine said to me a little while ago, who is Jane? And, you know, you start saying, well, Jane is a project manager. In my past life, I was, you know, I was a senior IT project manager. I'm a mother. And she said, stop.
Yeah.
Who is Jane?
Exactly.
Those are titles. Those are, you know, those are what you do. Those are your jobs that you've had. But who are you?
Yeah.
And it's hard to stop, because sometimes I think, and you know, you'll probably say the same thing, is that we're afraid to say who we are. We're afraid to say, well, actually, do you know what? I am a healer.
Yeah.
I'm here to heal. I'm here to be of service. I'm here. That is who I am. And then this little voice going on, oh, you can't say that.
Exactly.
You can't say
Because
that.
society says that we mustn't say these things. You know?
Absolutely, because that, how dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you say that?
Yeah.
Who gives you the right to be a healer? Who gives you the right to want to go out and, in our case here with Magenta Events, change one event, one person at a time if we can? Who gives you
Absolutely.
that right? So how can people do that, Fiona? How can we do that? How can we start having our sense of self?
Well, again, you know, very often defining yourself, as I said, with the words "I am," because, you know, yeah, as you said, very simple words, but "I am" actually is our life force. It's our divinity. It is the presence of the Mother Father within us. It's our individuality. It's our uniqueness. Nobody can say "I am" for you. Only we can say "I am."
Yeah.
So can you see how important it is anyway? Because otherwise people are saying you are and they are defining you. But
Yes.
you say I am.
So you're taking responsibility for yourself.
Absolutely. Taking responsibility for yourself. You're giving yourself, you know, I am is also, it's formless, it's timeless, it is, it's limitless. And this is what we truly are. But we were coming into this world in a human form as an individualized expression of the universe, of the, you know, and so we start off with the I am, and we are so big, but then we need to, you know, as a human, we, you know, the I exist. So I am is the divinity, I exist is the humanity, and you know that is based in form and time and limits, and whatever we put after I am is the form we are creating for ourselves. So if you say, oh, I'm so stupid, look what form you're creating.
Yeah.
And if you're telling yourself that every day because somehow someone has made you believe that,
yeah,
you know, you're creating that form.
That's like conditioning, isn't it? It's the conditioning.
Absolutely.
When we're children, sometimes, you know, your parents say something to you that, oh, for goodness sake, you know, buck up your ideas. Oh, for goodness sake, why are you always so, why'd you stop crying? You know, that's another thing. Stop crying. Why, you know, stop, oh, for crying out loud, you know, stop doing that. And all these little things, they build up, don't they, within you?
Conditioning us.
Absolutely. And we get to a point, I suspect, you know, we did with, you know, with Magenta Events, let's be honest, when we start having ideas and then you think, oh, am I clever enough to do that? Can I do that?
It's for everything.
And you just need to kind of change that around to go, I am clever enough to do that. You know,
we are
but
always enough.
Words.
Yeah, this is it. Or, you know, from being a kid, we are conditioned. You know, how many teachers ruin people by saying you're stupid and you're this and you're that, and you believe it because, you know, that's all you're hearing.
Absolutely.
And we're so conditioned. So this is where it's so important to start defining yourself. And it is difficult, you know, at the beginning, you know, to start saying to yourself, oh, you know, I am creative, or I am beautiful, or I am love. You know, they sometimes don't sound, you know, they're frightening because, you know, am I being arrogant? Am I being whatever?
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's, you know, it's love. And when you, you know, when you understand that you are unique, everybody's unique. You know, there is absolutely nobody like you or like anybody now, and there never has been and there never will be. You know, we are all so unique. There's no comparison, that we cannot compare ourselves to anybody, because whatever we do, you know, nobody can do it the same, you know, in any way. And we are so unique. And so, you know, when you start having a sense of self, you kind of own and you claim, you know, who you are. And, you know, you can say, I am beautiful, I'm intelligent, but then so is everybody else too, but in their own unique way.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And it just gives you this stronger sense of self, you know? Yes. I am is so powerful. So when you start using them with the power words, you know, you change.
So if we take that, and with the purpose of obviously these conversations, it's that, you know, natural conversations, but it is about navigating through uncharted emotional waters. So we're all having these feelings that are coming up, a sense of anger, perhaps a sense of bewilderment, out of control, not being able to control your life, being told what to do, a sense of sadness, because, you know, I mean, these are emotions that are coming up now, but I mean, they come up in people's lives and our lives all the time in some play. But it seems that this year seems to have a propensity of many negative, really, emotions. How can we take the I am part and put that in? Because what you're going to say is, I'm angry, I am angry, you know. So you've already got the, you know.
Absolutely. It's all about, you know, I'm a great believer that you, I'm saying you, but, you know, you in general, us, you know, it's through self-awareness. So knowing who you are, being aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, how you're moving, you know, being very much aware of you, and learning what, you know, what your gifts are, what your challenges are, what your, you know, knowing what you're feeling in any moment, you know, it's so important. And it's through the self-love. You know, this is the fastest way to transform your life. You know, in fact, you know, self-love, self-awareness, self-collections are the only ways that you can really transform your life. It comes from inside.
It's okay to say, actually, I am angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sad, rather than go, well, I better not tell anyone I'm angry because they're not going to like that.
But it's owning it. If you are feeling angry in that moment, sit with it. Where am I feeling it? You know, why? What is it that's triggering this up? And it's understanding, you know, how you are feeling. Because my anger is not necessarily your anger, you know. Exactly. But it's understanding, you know, exactly where it is and why, and trying to understand where it's coming from. Because it could be something very old. It could be a trigger from something that happened in the past, and it's just repeating now. But it's learning about yourself. It's really understanding, you know, what you're feeling in any moment. But you've got to own all of it.
I think what's really interesting, I mean, we know that because of all the great speakers that we've been speaking to recently. There is a common thread that runs through them all, isn't there? Which is very much about I am, being self. It all comes back to you. Absolutely. So whilst you're saying I am angry, so you've owned that. I'm using the word anger. I don't know why, it just keeps coming through. So I'm going to use that because I suspect it's probably one of the most overriding negative feelings that people have. They're angry at the situation, the world, whatever, angry where they are. So you own that, you face it. It's like your enemy, or you know, you're facing it. Actually, anger is just an emotion, and
it can be very positive. You know, if people are continuously hitting you, and you suddenly stand up in anger and you say stop, it's very positive. Yes. And I think there's a lot of anger going on at the moment because people feel, I think, that there's something bigger happening than what
Yes.
we understand. And
Yes.
and people are trying to take our freedom away from us in some way.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
you know,
So to own, if you own an emotion at that point in time, because, you know, as a healer, as a, you know, as a an alternative therapist, I mean, these are all labels again, aren't they? But I always feel that healer is not a label. It's you know, we're all healers in some way, especially, you know, at the moment. But we're all conditioned in a way to think, well, you're a healer, so you're not supposed to feel things like that. You're supposed to be all light and airy fairy and, you know, pink and fluffy, and you're not supposed to have these really strong emotions. But I think, and do you agree that if you don't have these emotions, especially if you're a healer, how can you have empathy for other people when they're going through those at the same time?
Well, healers, I think, are people that have taken the time to heal themselves, or at least go on the journey, because I don't think we're ever totally healed.
No.
But we're on a journey, and we're taking responsibility for our lives.
Yes.
And we have this desire to go out and help others, you know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we're only one step ahead in the sense of, you know, we've been through it, so I know, you know, we can understand what people are going through.
Yeah.
You know, healers are people that are healing themselves and wanting to heal others, or at least support, you know, in whatever area you work
because
in.
we don't, as you so, you know, eloquently explained, we're all on a journey. We're all basically taking each other's hands and walking this to go to wherever we're going, whatever your belief systems are. And not everybody will experience all, you know, all heal. If you're a healer, it doesn't necessarily mean you can heal the world, because you won't have, gosh, if you have an experience that everybody has in the world, then, you know, you're going to have a really, I think, quite a tough time. So there's, you know, different things that people go through in their lives that gives them that empathy, and, you know, to be able to recognize these emotions when they come up, that sometimes, like you said, they're if you own it. Other times also, if somebody, you need to stop and look at something and think, is that my emotion, or have I taken that on board from somebody else?
Well,
Is
this
that
is all
someone
about
else?
self-awareness. It's knowing who you are. You
Mm.
know, when you learn to, you know, I talk about self-love, and people think self-love, I mean, that's selfish, loving yourself.
Oh,
And
I
it
love
is
myself.
totally not. You know, just a banal example, if somebody's thirsty and you have an empty glass, how can I quench that person's thirst? If I am full of love for myself, then I have so much love and compassion to give to other people, you know. But if I'm empty, if I'm telling myself all these horrible things, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, and you're just putting up with everything that everybody's telling you, like, you know, unfortunately, majority of people do that. What do they have to give? How can they give love if they have no love inside of them? If you don't love yourself, you can't truly love another person. It's conditioned love. If you learn to love yourself, you have so much to give to other people, because it never runs dry.
No, exactly. Well, it's about connecting back, I suspect, to your inner child, back to the little girl or the little boy that you were at that point in time, when something was said to you, that you just need to go back and say, well, actually, I'm not going to take that on board, because that is not mine to take away.
This is it.
You know?
And again, it's self-awareness. Is it mine, or have I been told that that's what I am?
Yeah.
You know, it all comes through this.
And it's not just on a personal level. I mean, this is a collective at the moment, isn't it? We're being bombarded by so much information out there, and we're not going to get into politics, and we're not going to get into religion.
Let's not go down that way.
We're not going to go down that road. But, you know, for everybody that's sitting there, you know, everybody, I suspect, who's watching this is getting a version of something. And you get to a point and you think, well, who do I believe in these days? Who can you believe in? Because people that you're supposed to be believing in are actually not worth believing in. So those sort of behaviors are generating these emotions, these uncharted emotional waters. So from your perspective, and as the wonderful person that you are, is there a practical thing that somebody can do? Is there, because I know that you do meditations, and I know you can talk people through and walk people through certain processes. Is there a self-talk that you can give yourself when you're kind of
absolutely. But the most important thing is to recognize the importance of your body, because
Yes.
we're all in our heads, and when we're in our heads we're listening to everybody else. But it's in the body that you experience yourself. You truly experience yourself. So it's doing everything you can to get back into your body, because the mind comes down to the heart, the emotions come up to the heart, and it's the heart that when we live from the heart, it's a different way.
So you're looking, I'm looking at that lovely pennant hanging on the wall behind you, which is obviously it is, for those that don't know, it is what is called, those are the chakras. And they come from, as I understand it, from Hindu and Indian spirituality, religion, belief systems, and that we all have these chakras within us. In fact, everything is energy, so we're all going to have those. If any of those are out of balance, like you were talking about your story, and you told me something earlier on before we started chatting about how you lived up here and you kept falling over, and
over the years I just read, I think, about everything. I tried to find myself in a book. And you hear people's wonderful stories, amazing things, but you only really learn about yourself if you go inside and you take the time. But I used to, as the three upper chakras are all connected to the universe. They're out there. And the lower ones,
Magenta being right at the top.
Well, this is the I am, if you like, up there, and here we have the I exist. And we came here to to be humans, if we like. I always remember being in the park, and we were thinking that if I am a part of the mother father, or I always avoid the word God because it has so many connotations, but I call it mother father or oneness. And if I was part of the mother father, the divinity, then the mother father was a very big part of my humanity. We are one. And I used to totally snob the lower chakras. Didn't want to know about them. I want to be up there. I want to be up there. And all my life, they call me clumsy because I just fell over all the time. I was always on my knees. I was always, listen to that word as well. I was always on my knees, and I just really snubbed them. And it was only in my park that I am watching the trees, my poplars, the really tall trees, how they would move and sway, but they never fell over because they were connected and rooted to the earth. And so I changed my mind, and now I think these are the most important.
Be grounded.
You have to be grounded. You have to
have your roots.
Body.
You've got to put your roots down.
You have to be in your body. And what is the middle? This is the heart chakra.
Yes.
It all happens there in the heart. Unconditional love. It is, it is the place of union. It is the place of the mother father together. The divine feminine, the divine masculine. It's all in the heart.
It's also, to have the color green, which is nature. So it's all around us all the time, and so people can bring that into their lives. So do you have like a short meditation or a short journal?
Well, one of the most important for me anyway, the most important thing, and it's so easy. So maybe people think, oh, it's too easy, it can't be, can't be powerful. Is your breathing. It's consciously doing what we always do unconsciously. And when we consciously breathe, we're connecting the mind, the body, and the spirit. It becomes one, and our body is able to experience itself, to experience its inner life force and what is happening. It's only through the body that we can feel alive, and we can experience beingness, or we can experience a strong sense of self, and experience the states of being, because the states of being are love and joy and peace and wisdom and abundance. And we can never find these things in the head. We will never find peace in our head, and we will never find true love in our head. Joy, it's all down in the heart. And so, breathing is, we can't live without it, but we don't realize the importance of it. So I call I do it every day, what I call my I am breathing. And it is so simple. It's basically, when you're breathing in, you mentally say I. And when you breathe out, you say am. So it becomes I am. And even just 3 breaths regularly, it takes you 30 seconds. But in that 30 seconds, you're back in yourself, and you can go on through the day. So when you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling angry, or you're feeling anything, just breathe 3 times. I.
So should we do that? Should we do that together?
Let's do it together. We'll do it 3 times.
Let's do it together, because I think I could do it coming into my body a little bit. It's been a busy couple of days.
So when you breathe in, you mentally, when you're inhaling, you're breathing, you're saying I mentally. Then drop your shoulders and so. How does that feel?
That's lovely. For me, yeah. It's very calming, isn't it?
It's very calming.
It's a tool we all have. So anyone that's watching this at the moment, if ever any kind of overwhelm or emotion comes up that is not a particularly pleasant emotion, they can just do this ritual. I mean, do it first thing in the morning when you get up in the morning to start your day.
Do it. I used to put my timer on and do it every hour, because we did it now with, but you can do it just very simply, because the important thing is you're conscious. You can do it in a meeting. You can do it while you're talking to somebody, because you're just doing something that is conscious, but nobody else knows that it's a conscious breath. So you can do it anywhere. And if you do it over time, it's such a powerful tool, because you get back into your body, and you become more aware of what is happening, around us. And, it's the most powerful tool, I think. This is fun.
And very, very simple as well, isn't it? It's it's a great tool. And I know for our conversations, it's been all about giving tools to people to be able to take away with them, to be able to work through these rather challenging times that we're all going through.
But it's getting the sense of you, of who you are. And even if you can create a list of 5 things after I am, I am peace, I am at peace, I am peaceful, You know, I am abundant. I am totally worthy. You know, find a list and repeat them every day to yourself.
Positive list.
Obviously in the positive,
list.
because you're
Yeah.
creating your form.
Yes.
You know,
you're creating your story, aren't you? You're starting to reshape who you are.
And it does, you know, you don't realize it, but if you look back after, you know, a few months, you can see the difference. You know, you can feel it. And, you know, doing things, you know, in this period, get out in nature, you know, even if it's raining, just get out there, you know, breathe, you know, do your breathing consciously while you're walking, observe what is around you, because you know, nature teaches us, you know.
It does.
My greatest teacher were my poplars.
Yes.
You know, I'll never forget them. You know, I can stand in front of them and just observe them for hours. Nature teaches us.
It certainly does. And I think, you know, there are a number of our speakers who, including myself, I have to say, who are flower essence practitioners as a title, or work with the flower and the elements, and the, you know, the transformations that you can have by working with nature. And when we talk about nature, it's not necessarily just the trees and the flowers. I mean, just being out by the sea, or if you're lucky enough to live near the sea, or, you know, rocks, or anything that, I mean, we're all made of energy. Everything that's on this earth has an energy.
We're all made of the same thing, because they are beings too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know some people go, oh, how can you say a stone is a being? Or, but they're all here for a reason.
Lower consciousness, but it's still part of oneness.
Absolutely.
Everything.
And I think you know, one of our speakers that you know, people can listen to is Michelle Nielsen, and she talks about ancient wisdom through the Native Americans. And you know, they talk about everything as being a being. You go and talk to them, whether it's an insect, a tree, get to know it, go and sit with it with you. It was the poplars. With me, it's very, I mean, it's flowers all the time. I'm always out in the garden and talking, and I realize, so that the, you know, when you're talking about being I am and being in the moment, I realize that when I go out in the garden, and this goes back to when I was a little girl as well, I'm always touching things. It's like, you know, I walk past, say hello sweetie, and I realize I'm actually talking to a flower, and it's like, or it could be, if you don't turn yourself around, we're going to have, you know, serious thoughts, and you get a new flower the next day, or a new leaf, or some it decides, oh, I've been dormant enough, I suppose I ought to do some work here, you know.
Well, it's the energy, isn't it? It's the energy, it's the love, it's the consciousness.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, we all, you know, I was going to say it's easy. It's not always easy, but it's, if you understand people, you can, you know, you can say to people you love them because they're a person and they can respond. If you have an animal, you know, you talk to the animal and you can respond to them in the same way. But people could look at this and say, well, it's an inanimate object, it's not going to respond back. But it does respond back. It does. If you listen.
It does.
You know?
But this is where we need to also, you know, as beings, we need to accept every part of us and be who we truly are. Because, you know, recognizing what our truth is, not what other people say, but what our truth is, and what our you know, things we love. I mean, I remember doing a workshop well, probably a couple of years now, since you know, everything that's happened, and I asked them to write down 10 things they loved, and they couldn't do it. It was really difficult. We don't even know what it is that, you know, lights us up, what we love doing. You know, if everybody throughout the day could do, you know, even just 1 or 2 things that they love, you know, and it can be a simple thing. I mean, for me in the morning, I have to have my 2 cups of tea, and while they're you know, cooling, I read or I listen to something in audio, and
You
that for
physically
me,
have 2 cups of tea sitting by.
yes, they're there.
2 at the same time.
At the same time. And I love that, and I feel nurtured because it's there, it's waiting for me, and I'm reading or listening to something that's uplifting me, and I start my day and in a completely different way, and that's half an hour. Sometimes an hour if I have the time, but my day has begun in a way that nurtures me because I love doing it. So you don't have to say, oh, I love traveling, and you can't do anything because you don't have the money, or in this situation we can't go anywhere.
No.
The little things, and if you
I
fill your day with that.
I saw something yesterday on Facebook, the dreaded Facebook, but we're using Facebook. So yeah, there are other platforms that you can use, as we're a non-advertising organisation.
No, don't go down that one.
But I saw something on there which said that, and it really resonated with me. To get the most out of your day, get up an hour earlier.
Oh, I saw that one as well.
And then get up and
I think I posted that.
I'm not sure if it was you. Maybe you did. I'm not sure. But it was about, and then eventually get up and watch the sunrise.
Yeah, do things you love, whatever
go
it
and
is.
sit outside, put a coat on and the scarf on if you live in a cold climate, and go outside. And I know personally, I mean, my life has changed. When I worked in the corporate environment, I was up at 5:30 in the morning, and it's a lifetime I don't really want to go back to from a corporate perspective. But I used to be I'm a morning person, and over time that's sort of changed now. And I realized that you waste your morning. So if I don't start my morning until 10:30, 11 o'clock, say, I'm forever trying to catch up with myself throughout the day. And then I get to the middle of the afternoon, I think, oh, sod it. I can't be asked. I'm not, that's another day gone. But if I'm up at, say, and I'm physically out of bed, not lounging, going through Facebook or doing whatever, I'm physically out of bed by 7 o'clock. And I get on with my day. And just like you like to have your two cups. For me, I have realized over time that you need to have a ritual in the morning. You need to do something that nurtures. And for me, now I've realized that if I don't come and sit and just be for half an hour, nobody getting, I tell Tony, my husband, just don't talk to me for half an hour in the morning. Please go away. Go and have a shower. Go and do whatever you need to do, but leave me alone for half an hour.
Exactly.
And that doesn't happen all the time. So,
but when it does, it nurtures you, and this is what we need to find. What is it that nurtures us?
The I am, the breathing, the meditation, and everybody. I mean, I'm a Gemini, for crying out loud. So meditation for me is nigh on impossible. I have an eye opening going, what's going on around me? And I'm sure there's many people who will actually resonate with that. It's like, no, I need to know what's going on.
It's because we believe that meditation, we have to sit there for hours and hours and not, do anything. Yeah. But I am breathing is a form of meditation, because meditation is connecting to yourself and to source. It's connecting to the divinity that is within you. So, doing things you love is also a meditation. Walking around the park, consciously being there, observing, that is a meditation.
It's switching yourself off, isn't it, from the outside world? Just for, you could do it, like you said, mentally saying, I am, when you're sitting on a train, when you're sitting at home, when the kids are all going like this at you, you can just go, I am. Take yourself out of it.
It's powerful. It is powerful.
It's switching that. It's switching those, electrodes off. That's getting all this, mum, la la, TV, you name it, or dad even, because men or women, and just giving you your time, which unfortunately we're coming to the end of our time talking to you, sweetie. how can people find you so that they can, you know, have some of this lovely energy?
They can find me on my website, www.fragranceofbeing.com, or also on my Facebook page, again, Fiona Campbell, Fragrance of Being, and also Magenta. So
absolutely,
yeah.
and all these
www.magentaevents.world.
.world, yeah, yeah. And obviously, you know, all these links will be put down below, so people can get into them at their leisure. Thank you so much. That has been so enlightening and very, yeah, quite thought-provoking, I would think. I'm sure people are going to go away thinking, I am, how complicated is that? Everyone can say that. And,
they can say it, and only you can say it. Because when other people are saying you are, they're seeing their version, they're seeing you through all their issues. So you have to define yourself.
So I'm just going to leave now, but I just want people to say that to themselves. I am, and feel how that feels. And then say, you are. Oh, the energy is very, very different. Very different.
Very different.
And on that note,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.